Ladies and gentlemen, welcome as we are live for this afternoon's NASCAR Xfinity Series race coverage in the Tennessee Lottery 250 at the Nashville Super Speedway. Getting set for action here as cars are already on the racetrack and on the parade laps for an early start to today's NASCAR Xfinity Series race. The temperature has risen from where we were in practice and qualifying for the Cup Series a little over an hour ago. 94-degree air temp, 105-degree feel-like temperature at Nashville Super Speedway here today. We'll go through the starting lineup for today's race as we are still a few pace laps away from the drop of the green flag for today's action. Ty Gibbs and Cole Custer are going to be on the front row. Gibbs with a clean sweep in practice. Fastest 5, 10, 15, and 20 lap averages. He also got the pole here. He was also fastest in Cup practice earlier today also. Ryan Sieg and AJ Allmendinger in row 2. AJ pulling double duty again here this weekend, of course, as an Xfinity Series regular. Austin Hill and Justin Allgaier will line up in row number 3. Allgaier, former winner here at Nashville. Noah Gragson and Chandler Smith in row 4. Gragson, one of the few Cup regulars in the field today. Riley Herbst and Parker Kligerman in row 5. Herbst, another driver pulling double duty as an Xfinity Series regular here today. Tyler Reddick and Sammy Smith will line up in row number 6. Reddick in the Sam Hunt Racing 26, another Cup regular again in the field. Brandon Jones, Sheldon Creed, row 7. John Hernimachek making yet another Xfinity start from the Cup Series. He'll be on the inside of row 8 with Jeremy Clements to his outside. In row number 9, it'll be Anthony Alfredo and Brennan Poole. Jeb Burton, Ross Chastain in row number 10. Chastain in the 92 car for Mario Gosling. Parker Retzlaff and Matt DiBenedetto in row number 11. Row 12 for Ryan Ellis and Sam Mayer. Leland Honeyman, Josh Williams in row 13. Row 14 for Kyle Sieg and Shane Van Gisbergen. Kyle Weatherman and Carson Kvapil will be in row number 15. Kvapil starting deep in the field. His 4th start of the season for Junior Motorsports in that 88 car. Haley Deegan and Dawson Cram will be deep in the field in row 16. Row 17 for Patrick Emerly and Blaine Perkins. Chad Fincham also doing double duty in the Cup and Xfinity races this weekend. He's on the inside of row 18 with Garrett Smithley to his outside. And row number 19, rounding out today's field, will be Logan Bearden and Jesse Love. That is your full field starting lineup for, again, today's Tennessee Lottery 250 at the Nashville Super Speedway. 250 miles, 188 laps. The scheduled distance, one of the shorter Xfinity Series races on the season. A very hot and slick racetrack under the Tennessee Nashville sun. Nashville heat is a real thing yet again this weekend, as we have seen here over the past several years since NASCAR has come back to this 1.33 mile oval. Don't have time to look at the point standings before the drop of the green flag for today's race, so we'll go over that during one of the commercial breaks in the early going of today's broadcast. If you're wondering where you can watch the race live, it is on the USA Network. Tomorrow's Cup race will be on your local NBC affiliate. But again, USA Network for today's Xfinity race. Obviously, you can listen live right here on KRC, this YouTube channel for full flag-to-flag coverage. Dan Bowers, Billy Kramer, Bronny24 Ever, Richard Carr Sr., Regine Huddleston, and many others. Welcome into the stream. You guys are the first in the chat down below. 18 likes in the early going of this thing as well. Our goal is to get to 100 likes on the Xfinity Series race streams, so be sure to hit that like button so we can get to that goal. We are 2 for 2 in getting our goal of likes this weekend through the truck race last night and our Cup practice and qualifying stream earlier this afternoon. David Conley, Katie Cox, also welcome to the stream. Yeah, hot and humid at Nashville this weekend. 45 laps in stages 1 and 2. Final stage will be 98 laps, with the fuel window being 75 to 80 laps and pit road speed at 45 miles per hour. They can go almost the full length of stage 1 and stage 2 on a full fuel window. We'll likely see pit stops during that stage 1 break. And if we do have a green flag run long enough to take over the entirety of the final stage, they'll be right on the edge of their pit window by the time we start under green to the finish. Could see green flag pit stops there. Ty Gibbs again with the clean sweep earlier today for practice and qualifying. Fastest in both, well, he was second fastest overall in Xfinity practice, but he had the fastest 5, 10, 15, and 20 lap averages. He's my pick to win the race here today. You can vote for who you think is going to win the race in the chat poll. That will close at the end of stage 2 per usual with our chat polls on who you think is going to win. Pace car is already on pit road. Field hits the start-finish line. Green flag is in the air. We're underway for Xfinity Series racing at Nashville. Side by side for the lead through turns 1 and 2 is Ty Gibbs and Cole Custer on the front row. Custer goes a bit wide off the exit of the corner, slipping up out of the groove just a little bit, allowing for Gibbs to stay underneath him again into turns 3 and 4. Christian Eckes led every lap of the race yesterday from the third place starting position, and he was actually clear off turn 2 with every single restart and including the initial start he had to begin the race. Ty Gibbs will lead lap 1 from the pole in this one, but he's still not clear of Custer, who is to his outside still. Custer going to run the 19 car a bit tight. Big slide job for Ryan Sieg to clear for third place on A.J. Allmendinger back behind the leaders. Gibbs with an aggressive side draft at the end of the back straightaway before diving it deep into turn 3. Gibbs finally cleared for the lead off turn 4 as he'll lead lap 2 just as he did lap 1, but this time by a full car length at the line. Side by side again for third. Allmendinger back to the inside of Ryan Sieg again, trying to cross him back over after Sieg cleared him off turn 2 the lap before. Justin Allgaier in 5th, right behind both of them, running with a couple cars side by side behind the 7 as well. Sieg with the aggressive side draft on the back straightaway now, pulled to the bottom of the track to side draft Allmendinger. Had to go back up to try to arc his outside lane maneuver off. A little contact on the front stretch off turn 4 behind them in the battle for position between Chandler Smith and Justin Allgaier. Smith had gotten into the left side door of Justin there just a little bit, slowing both cars up. They still remain side by side off of one. And Riley Herbst on the 98 right behind that battle between the 81 and the 7. 81 got really loose on the inside lane that time. Did a great job keeping it off the 7 this go around. He's going to get split 3 wide on the front stretch now by Riley Herbst and Brandon Jones. And both of those drivers were able to clear Chandler Smith after Smith's mistake in the middle of 3 and 4 the lap before. 3 positions lost that lap for Chandler as he drops to 9th. Top 5 in the running order on lap 5 in the early going of the race says again Ty Gibbs leading, Cole Custer 2nd, A.J. Allmendinger 3rd, Ryan Sieg 4th, and Noah Gragson in 5th. Had 7 cautions in the truck race last night. Felt like there was more than that. There was only 1 in the final stage. 3 cautions in stages 1 and 2, which were each supposed to be 45 and 50 laps. Very similar lengths in stages 1 and 2 in this Xfinity race as well. 45 and 45 here today before the final stage again, 98 laps. This race 38 laps longer in distance, for scheduled distance at least, than the truck race yesterday. Ryan Sieg loses another position now to Noah Gragson after Allmendinger completed the pass on that battle for 3rd at the time with Sieg a few laps ago. So Sieg has dropped 2 spots now from the start of the race, from 3rd back to 5th. We'll see if he can stay in the top 10 to lap 45 at the end of stage 1. Smith. Sammy gets by him for 9th, so Chandler now back to 10th. Jan Hunter Nemechek moving his way upward through the field. He's gained a handful of positions up to 11th, riding behind his teammate Chandler Smith. Austin Hill didn't qualify particularly well today. Started deep in the field. He's still back at 24th. And Jesse Love, who started dead last in 38th, is up to 25th. Carson Kvapil, who started 30th, is up 2 spots to 28th. Speaking of Carson Kvapil, he's 3 wide underneath Leland Honeyman and Kyle Weatherman. Gets out of the gas a little early before getting pinched off too much in the middle of 1 and 2. Trying to methodically find his way around these guys, and as he does that, he's going to get put 3 wide again towards turn 1, with Matt DiBenedetto and Jeb Burton now around him. Contact from Honeyman to the back of Weatherman getting into turn 1. It made a little bit of contact that left your quarter panel and almost on the right rear quarter panel on the back straightaway as the 91 went right back down the track. Overdrives the next corner, gets passed by DiBenedetto on the high side. A lot of aggressive battling going on at the back half of the 20s in the position order, with the early fight going on in this race. Shane Van Gisbergen back there. It's right around where he qualified. SVG locked into the Xfinity Series playoffs. Got a couple of road course wins earlier in the month at Portland and Sonoma on back-to-back weeks. Had just his second DNF of the year at Iowa a couple of weeks ago. Battle for second starting to heat up as well between Cole Custer and AJ Allmendinger. The lead between Gibbs and Custer is about 1.4 seconds right now. Lap 11, working on lap 12. Quick 146.43 mile per hour average race speed in the early laps as we're still caution free. And Gibbs from the pole has led all 11 completed laps so far. Bubba Davis, Frank Powers, Earl Arnold Jr. Also, thanks for tuning in. Random, welcome back also. Many of you were just watching a little over an hour ago our NASCAR Cup Series practice and qualifying stream. Appreciate you coming back. Gives about a tenth or two faster a lap than Custer on a consistent basis. Fastest lap by Gibbs in the early going to this one on lap 3 was a 31.394. That last lap he ran was a 31.870, so about a half a second of fall. We'll see a bit of tire fall off here throughout the course of a longer green flag run today, as we saw in the truck race last night, and what we saw a little bit of in the Cup Series practice session earlier today as well. Gibbs now out to a 1.8 second lead on Cole Custer. 4 different drivers have won in the 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing this season. John Hunter Nemechek, Eric Almirola has a win, Ryan Truex, and now Ty Gibbs trying to go to victory lane in that ride as well. Christopher Bell last week is actually in the 20 car, not the 19, excuse me. But still, 4 part-time drivers this year at JGR have gone to their 2-second lead now built up between Gibbs and Custer at the very front of the field. Full screen commercial break for the first time in this one today. We'll stay right here and actually take a look at those point standings. Means we did not have enough time in our pre-race to get through that. Cole Custer comes in as the series points leader through 16 races. Still 10 races left until the Xfinity Series playoffs begin. He's got a 15-point lead over Chandler Smith, and he's 40 standing. Still no wins this year for Custer, but he does have the most top 10s in the series by kind of a wide margin. He's got 13. Next closest is 10 for Sheldon Creed and Chandler Smith. 336 laps led for Custer so far this year, which is third most in the series, only behind Allgaier and Chandler Smith. Only 2 stage wins to go for him, one of which was last week after he started on the pole at New Hampshire and led quite a few laps in that one as well. He led over 100 of the 200 laps in that race, in that one. Sheldon Creed got yet another runner-up finish, his 10th of his Xfinity career, before still trying to go to victory lane for the first time. Mentioned that he has the second most top 10s on the year with Chandler Smith. So that's the battle for the regular season championship at the front of the field. If we look further back on the full playoff grid, the drivers locked into the Xfinity Series playoff with wins would include 2 apiece for 4 drivers. Chandler Smith, Austin Hill, Sam Mayer, and Shane Van Gisbergen all have 2 wins. 1 win for both Jesse Love and Justin Allgaier, which means we have 6 different winners of the Xfinity Series regulars that are running for the championship this season. Only 12 drivers can lock themselves into the playoffs for the Xfinity Series, with it only being a 7-race playoff and not 10 like with the Cup Series, so they have 1 less round. 6 drivers still available. The ones that are in on points would again include Cole Custer, who is the series points leader, Sheldon Creed, who's 5th in points overall, Riley Herbst, who doesn't have a win but is above the cutoff line. Also have AJ Allmendinger, Parker Kligerman, Driver above the cutoff line over Ryan Sieg coming into this race today. The gap between Sammy Smith and Ryan Sieg for that final playoff spot, 31 points, separating the two coming into today's race. So with Ryan Sieg minus 31 starting up towards the front, he definitely needs these stage points in the early going. Over a full race worth of points out is Anthony Alfredo, Brandon Jones, and Brennan Poole, who round out the top 16 in the point standings. Not a must-win situation for those guys quite yet, but they're going to need a lot of help with still, again, 9 races left, I guess, technically, after this race completes today. We'll have 9 races left for the Xfinity Series playoff race. And more races left in the regular season for the Xfinity Series than what we have left on the Cup side. Almost halfway through stage 1, lap 22 of 45 this time by. Gibbs has extended his lead through the commercial break to 2.3 seconds over Cole Custer, who remains in second place. AJ Allmendinger 2.7 seconds back in third. Brandon Jones is 5.3 seconds back in fourth. Noah Gragson 6.2 seconds back in fifth. Justin Allgaier 6.7 seconds off the lead at 6th. Ryan Sieg has dropped to 7th. He's 8.4 seconds back. Riley Herbst is 8.7 seconds back and just behind Sieg in 8th. John Hunter Nemechek has moved up to 9th. He's 9.1 seconds off the lead. And Sammy Smith rounds out the top 10 at 9.6 seconds off the lead. So that's the top 10 and the intervals between them. Again, lap 23 here at Nashville, stage 1, and still caution-free in the early going of this race. Austin Hill currently on screen, fighting his way through the field. He's on the outside of Tyler Reddick, battling for 16th on the racetrack. Very loose moment on that high side lane for Hill through 1 and 2. Kept his foot in it, drove right through it, and still gets to the outside of the 26. Looking to make the pass. We usually see Corey Heim in that 26 car most given weeks for the Xfinity Series. At least on the ovals with his part-time ride for the Xfinity Series side of things, but Heim is in the Cup Series and an extra entry for 2311 Racing. So they have Tyler Reddick pegged from 2311 Racing, coincidentally, to run that 26 this weekend. Reddick has actually ran that car a couple times already this year. So this is not his first Xfinity start of the season by any means. Jesse Love in 20th after starting 38th. Not moving through the field quite as quick as Austin Hill, but he is still moving through the field nonetheless. Has a different sponsorship this weekend. Used to seeing the wheel and paint scheme on the car. That is not the case here. Got the C4 Energy paint scheme. So unique colors on Jesse Love's car this weekend.
Get behind the wheel. It's not going to drive today. There's just no way. And to be honest, I'd rather be a little loose and a little tight. I'd rather be able to get the car to turn. But I would be telling my 19-year-old exactly that. Let's take our time. Long race. Let's be smart.
How about Riley Herbst making the move on the outside here of Ryan Sieg, trying to take 7th away.
What I love are options. We always talk about what makes great racing. Well, one thing is at a high-speed racetrack, you have to be able to go somewhere other than the car in front of you. Because if not, that car could just basically put the aero block up and there's nowhere you can go. It looks to me, by watching the 98 and the 21, Jeff, your car may be better bottom or better top, but if you have a good enough car, you can use both the bottom and I'll call it the top of the second lane to complete a pass.
And if the outside is equal early in the race, expect it to be better later because they're cleaning this racetrack off, Marty, and it should get better as the day goes on.
Riley Herbst has been willing to use that high line to make some passes. So not only the drivers having to deal the heat inside the car, there's other issues for Riley Herbst. Listen in.
I think my radio and Joey's radio work together, 1980 area.
All right, talking about the spotter, they moved to channel 2. He said, I can hear him, but it's not much better. And then they had another issue just a moment ago. He was behind Ryan Sieg moments ago, and he had debris on the grill. That was the debris. The water temperature was up to 270. But when he passed Ryan Sieg, the debris went away. That's a good sign for the 98 team of Riley Herbst. And at the end of this run, he's been pretty quick. Here's a battle for second, Rick.
They're side by side. They have to split the 07 of Patrick Emmerling. But Custer now trying to defend the second spot as A.J. Allmendinger has made a huge charge on the inside. Right along with that Celsius on board of Allmendinger. He said he was pounding Celsius down to be ready for this at the rate.
Sounds like a sponsorship plug. Allmendinger, rather, has definitely been hounding that 00 of Cole Custer, even since right before their last commercial break about 10 laps ago or so. That was when that battle really first started. And Allmendinger got alongside Custer through 1 and 2 a couple laps ago, but then the lap car got in the way. They had to split them 3 wide. Custer was able to clear off the exit of turn 4. And he still remains in front of him. No lap cars, at least for the immediate future over the next lap or two, in front of the 00 and the 16. So they'll have a clean battle going on now. Allmendinger again to the inside of Custer on the backstretch. Has a big run getting off into turn 3. Drives it in very deep. Going to slide up the hill in front of the 00. And clear. Custer not able to get back to the inside of the 16. A successful pass for second for AJ. And now A.J. Allmendinger up to second place. He's 3.7 seconds off race leader Ty Gibbs, who leads the way. Toyota, Chevy, Ford in the top 5 on the manufacturer side of things. The rest of the top 10 from 6 on back is a Chevy, Ford, Toyota, Ford, Chevy. So great mix of Ford, Chevys, and Toyotas in the top 10. 2 on the Toyota camp, 4 apiece for Chevy and Ford. With the very few Ford teams in this series. Most of them all the way up at the front of the field right now. An extra one with Gregson in that 30 car this weekend, of course. Running top 5 in the early going. Brandon Jones is really a driver who's been quietly on the move in this first stage. I'd say the junior motor. He was right around that 9th place position off the early laps of the race when he was battling, and now has worked his way to 4th. Getting by the 7, getting by the 98, the 30, who are all around him in the running order. And now he's within a second of Cole Custer for 3rd. In fact, that last lap, Ty Gibbs was the quickest, but Brandon Jones was the second fastest on the racetrack. And I mentioned already when we went through the point standings the first time that Brandon Jones isn't in a must-win situation, being over a full race worth of points out of 12th for that final playoff spot. But he's going to need a lot of help or really, really great runs on a consistent basis. And getting to the finish of the race, that's really what has plagued Jones this season. A lot of DNFs, very similar to last year. Remember, he missed the playoffs a season ago in his first year with Junior Motorsports. 6 DNFs and 16 races for Brandon Jones this season. Has the most in the Xfinity series by a couple, other than Parker Retzlaff, who has 5. Kyle Weatherman also has 5, but of the drivers who are in playoff positions, only Justin Allgaier and Sam Mayer, also oddly enough for Junior Motorsports, are anywhere near him on the DNF list. Definitely been a tough year for Junior Motorsport finishing races. I mean, obviously you got the 6 DNFs for Brandon Jones, but 4 for Sam Mayer and for Justin Allgaier as well, who have had race-winning speed on multiple occasions. Allgaier's got 1 win, Mayer with 2, but you wonder how many more they could have had when they've been competing for wins and have been wrecked out or gotten in an incident of their own doing. Whatever the case is, they just can't seem to get to the finish line. I'd say even more the case in Allgaier's sense, where he's had race-winning speed, and those are races he can't necessarily seal the deal and win it. Or, again, at the very least, get a good finish. And when you consider Allgaier being only 42 points behind Custer for that regular season championship race with 4 DNFs, he's led the most laps. He's got by far the most stage wins, so he's getting a lot of stage points, keeping him in the hunt. He's got to be thankful for that, at least. But if he could just finish these races off, he'd probably be the points leader right now if it wasn't for the 4 DNFs. Even if he only had 1 or 2, I think he'd still be the points leader. During the commercial break, Brandon Jones made a pass for 3rd on Cole Custer, using the lap car of Kyle Sieg as a pick. Blaine Perkins, sorry, in the 29 this weekend. Kyle Segan, the 28. But still, use the lap car as a pick to make the pass through turns 1 and 2 a few laps ago. Track temp 120 degrees. It'd be even warmer if this was asphalt, but a concrete surface here at Nashville. Seven laps to go currently in stage 1 with where we are at right now. Still a 3.2 second lead for Gibbs over Allmendinger. Brandon Jones, quickest car on the track that last lap, but again, I think with Gibbs being where he's at late going to the stage, maybe he's not pushing quite as hard. He's also the first one to get into lap traffic on a lap-by-lap basis, so I wouldn't look too close into that, but what I would look close into is the fact that Brandon Jones, again, on the long run, has a very fast race car. At least the second quickest behind Ty Gibbs in the field. You never know what could happen. Gibbs has a penalty, a slow pit stop, gets back in traffic just a little bit. Brandon Jones can keep that track position. It could be his day today. Nine top 10 finishes for Sammy Smith this year. Most of anybody at Junior Motorsports this season. It's a stat that they just showed on the bottom of the screen. On the graphic side of things on the race coverage. Ryan Sieg holding out the top 10 for now. He's fallen back to 9th after starting 3rd. Chandler Smith is battling him for that 9th place position here. Sammy Smith within a second of those two drivers as well. So Sieg's going to have to put a fight on for these final 4 laps to try to hold on and get any sort of stage points he can. And Sammy Smith out of the top 10. This is big for Sammy Smith, again, specifically for that final playoff spot. Sieg goes up the hill. Much lower exit off turn 4. Great turn off the exit for Chandler Smith. Gets underneath Sieg. And Chandler is clear. Ryan Sieg hops in line right behind him. Sammy Smith continues to try to chip away at that 39 car. But Ryan Sieg really wishes he had that win at Texas earlier this season. To already be in the playoffs, even though he's below the cutoff line right now. The win would have guaranteed him a spot. Just 2/1000ths of a second the difference between him and Mayer that day at Texas. And Mayer eventually ended up getting another win anyway, as he has 2 on the season. 2 to go on the stage. Austin Hill on screen has made his way to 14th. Jesse Love 16th. Both of those started in the back half of the field. Love a little bit deeper in the field, starting back than what Hill was, but relatively similar in position with where they are 14th and 16th right now. Final lap of the stage. Matt DiBenedetto trying to block Ty Gibbs to hold on to the lead lap all the way through this stage. Blocking Gibbs all the way down the front stretch. Now looking underneath the DiBenedetto on the back straightaway. Gibbs underneath. Matt DiBenedetto is going to put up a fight on that outside lane, but Gibbs is clear. So Gibbs will lap him, and he'll let him go back to the line. So he lapped him, and then he let DiBenedetto go on the front stretch, and Matt DiBenedetto actually does finish on the lead lap to the end of the stage there, and Kyle Weatherman in the 91 will get the free pass. So Kyle Weatherman will get the free pass in 31st place at the end of the stage. This is our first caution, lap 45. Stage 1 end as the first stage goes caution-free for incident. We'll have our first pit stops of the race on the other side of the commercial break on the USA Network. We'll take our first ad break as well. You're listening live on KRC to the Tennessee Lottery 250. Patrick Shadley, Mike G, Zach Powers, Bill Tortolet. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully I said your name correctly. 54 likes. We're over halfway to our goal of 100. So be sure to hit that like button again if you haven't done so yet. So we can get to our goal for the third time of 3 live commentary streams this weekend. Again, we will see our first pit stops of the race during the Stage 1 break shortly. Before that, we'll get our first diecast showing out. Giving two, because I forgot to give you guys a diecast showing during our Cup Practice qualifying stream earlier. This showed a Denny Hamlin diecast off today because Hamlin qualified on the pole earlier today. So I figured, hey, why not, scrape up, try to find a Hamlin diecast I had that I hadn't shown yet. I showed a 2010 diecast of his just a couple weeks ago, and here is a 2013 diecast. First year of the Gen 6 car, of course. 164 scale. Again, I showed off all the 124 scale diecasts from earlier in the season, all the ones basically on the shelving unit behind me. So on to the 164 scale. That was the first one of the day. And we'll have our typical one at the end of stage 2 coming as well. But again, I did get one out during the stream earlier, so I wanted to make sure I got 2 of them out during this one here today. Leroy, thanks for tuning in. Henrique Aruda, thanks for tuning in as well.
NBC Sport coverage of NASCAR on Wednesday is brought to you by Progressive. Save with your bundle motorcycle, cars, and insurance. Progressive.com. And American Express card. Beautiful downtown Nashville. Saw Ryman Auditorium. Grand Ole Opry. Country Music Hall of Fame. So many things to see when we're about to see pit stops taking place. And for Ty Gibbs, he just wants to keep status quo, maybe make some adjustments, a few cars behind him. Couple cars surprising. Tyler Reddick all the way back in 18. I thought he'd be a little bit faster. We'll see if they can fix him up with this stop.
Yeah. And Brandon Jones, one of those cars coming in, he said, I had way less ladder run, 3 numbers snug in the center, though. You see him top left. They will take 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Sunoco fuel. AJ Allmendinger, top right. He started free on entry, but way better than he was in practice. He said, little tight at the end, though. They're going to leave it. No changes, Marty, because Alex Yancey said if we help it on entry, it might hurt the exit.
Boy, Ty Gibbs led every lap of that stage. He said it got tighter on entry as they ran. To beat the heat, he wants 2 bags of ice plus a couple of bottles of water. Cole Custer said he fired off loose, but after 20 laps, the right sides gave up, and the car got way too tight. We'll see if Ty Gibbs and the 19 team can hold to it here on pit road.
Nope.
Custer gaining a couple of spots here, 3 of them, as a matter of fact, Rick.
Brandon Jones grabbed a spot as well, so Custer steals the lead away on pit road. Jones grabs a spot, as does Riley Herbst. So a good performance there for the Fords. Nashville, it's all about entertainment. That's what we're seeing here at the Nashville Super Speedway as well. We're getting ready for the start of stage 2.
When Mike.
So Ty Gibbs, after leading every lap from the pole in stage 1 and winning the first stage, undoubtedly there by a little over 3 seconds, he does not win the race off pit road, loses 2 positions. He'll be third on the restart, as Cole Custer won the race off of pit road with that number 1 pit box. Definitely paid huge dividends there. 3 positions gained for Custer. He was 4th at the end of stage 1. And 1 spot gained for Brandon Jones to go from 3rd to 2nd, as he leapfrogged Gibbs as well. Waiting for our leaderboard to update when they get back to the start-finish line this time by. There we go. So the top 3 rows, presumably on the restart, will be Cole Custer, Brandon Jones, Riley Herbst, Ty Gibbs, John Hunter Nemechek, and AJ Allmendinger. So those will be the drivers lined up at the front of the field for this next restart. A little over a half hour into this one, from the drop of the green flag to where we are now. 131.49 mile per hour average race speed, and this is our first lead change of the race technically. Same amount that we had in the truck race last night. Already here. And again, Christian Eckes won the truck race last night, led all 150 laps. And that was despite the fact that he even started third. He didn't even start on the pole, or the front row for that matter. Started third. But max points day as well, of course, with that, winning both stages and the race. We'll see if Gibbs can do that here today. Of course, Gibbs not running for points in the Xfinity Series, but still trying to help the owner standings out on that 19 car side of things. And trying to be the 5th part-time driver at JGR to win in the Xfinity Series this year, joining Christopher Bell, Eric Almirola, Ryan Truex, and John Hunter Nemechek. Start. Inside lane has been the preferred one on the restarts through the truck race yesterday, and 1 for 1 in this Xfinity race today. Now, Gibbs did take a couple laps for he cleared Custer on that initial start. So we'll see. More than likely, I'd imagine Custer will take the inside row 1 again. But if he can clear up off of turn 2, we'll have an easier time trying to hold on to the lead.
Way to choose 48 of Parker Clearman and the 8 both caught for speeding on pit lane. Sammy Smith, Parker will start here at the back. Custer, you mentioned the 9 pit crew. They showed up there, actually gained a spot. The 19 pit stop was just kind of slow altogether. Let's listen into the radio on the 98.
It's really hot water. Yeah, I need you to unplug it. I'm going to give you the hose to drain it. If it stops, we'll until it's back to ice, okay? Yeah, that's okay. Make sure you get that hose put into that shirt so that water doesn't flow, not percolating, okay? You get it drained out? I have no, so man, I'm over it. I just want guys talking about it. I'm okay.
Difficulty there for the 98 driver, Riley Herbst, as we're back underway.
Green flag back in the air. Cole Custer has a great restart compared to Brandon Jones, who was on the outside of row 1. Custer's well clear getting into the first turn. Ty Gibbs is actually going to come away with second. Jones really stalled Riley Herbst out in that outside lane of row 2 behind him. Jones has had good long run speed, maybe the takeoff speed not as quick. Falls from the outside of row 1 back to 4th. Top 3 cars on the inside lane were the top 3 in the running order at the end of this first lap under green in stage 2. Nemechek was the car that was able to going way up the racetrack, trying to find some grip as he works on AJ Allmendinger for the 5th place position. So Custer leads his first green flag laps of the day. After restarting in the lead from winning the race off pit road, the number 1 pit box, his crew gained him 3 positions. It's the number 1 pit box off the exit of pit road specifically, which has its advantages for sure, and maybe even more so at some tracks than the others. Here at Nashville this weekend definitely looks to be as if it's a very huge advantage. Still battling for 5th between Herbst and Allmendinger, side by side. Chandler Smith now nose to tail with Noah Gregson. Gregson, lost some time on pit road also. He was 5th at the end of the first stage. After this restart in the set of pit stops, he's now back in 8th. And Austin Hill's broken into the top 10 for the first time today just behind him. Hill runs 9th. Jesse Love still trying to get into the top 10. And a slow pit stop, by the way, for Sammy Smith. Smith was 11th at the end of stage 1. Just missed out on stage points. So he was definitely one of the big losers on pit road. Top 10 following the restart as Cole Custer leading, Ty Gibbs 2nd, John Hunter Nemechek 3rd, Brandon Jones 4th, AJ Allmendinger in 5th, Chandler Smith 6th, Riley Herbst 7th, Noah Gregson 8th, Austin Hill 9th, Ryan Sieg 10th. So that's the top 10 in that order. We're on lap 11 of stage 2 out of 45 and lap 56 of 188 total. Make that now lap 57 as the leaders cross the stripe yet again. Just a 0.2 of a second lead for Custer over Gibbs. Big moment there for Riley Herbst in turns 1 and 2. His car really got out from underneath him. Got way loose and lost about 4 or 5 car lengths to Smith in front of him. Chandler Smith, specifically. Camera now on some battles side by side in the back half of the field. Anthony Alfredo, Parker Rutzlaff door to door. Josh Williams also side by side with Shane Van Gisbergen. That battle is for 20th. Top three all within a second of the race lead. Jones, who settled in fourth, now maybe not settled in anymore as he loses another spot on this short run to AJ Allmendinger. So the problem with having as good of a long run car as Brandon Jones has, in every long run there's a short run, and if you're not able to capitalize on a short run, he is right here losing positions. Still makes it very difficult to win races. Nearly impossible if you end up getting a lot of cautions in the late going of a race. SVG completes the pass on Williams. Pass for 20th. Little over 10 positions gained for Shane Van Gisbergen from the start of the race to where he's at now in the early going of stage 2. Custer still holding on to his lead in front of Gibbs at the very front of the field. John Hunter Nemechek was the fastest on the racetrack that last lap with a 32.010. Sieg has fallen out of the top 10. Jesse Love is now back in the top 10 for the first time, taking over that 10th place spot just a couple laps ago. No other position changes in the top 10 over recent laps at least. Justin Allgaier also had a pretty poor pit stop as he went from about 6th, 7th place where he ran for most of stage 1. Now he's 13th. And he battles Sam Mayer for 12th on the race. Reddick in that group of cars just out of the rear view of the 7 of Allgaier as well by a few car lengths. Side by side, the JGR Toyotas duking it out for second. John Hunter Nemechek on the inside of Ty Gibbs. First time Gibbs is having to deal with dirty air on a restart. Of course, being back at second where he had the clean air off the initial start. Cole Custer's still out in front. Seeing the battling going on for position behind him, and Allmendinger closing in on this battle for second between Gibbs and Nemechek. Allgaier taking the middle groove between the 19 and the 20, trying to get a little extra clean air on the nose. The two in front of him side drafting each other on the front stretch. Allmendinger continues to close on the straightaways in the draft. Nemechek not going to be clear of Gibbs this time off turn 2 either. Gibbs had a huge run. And Nemechek into the middle line. Allmendinger all the way down to the yellow line on the bottom. And is right in line behind both cars who, again, are side by side in front of him. Nemechek on the bottom. Gibbs on the top again. Nemechek sails it off into turn 1. Slides up the racetrack. Gibbs goes a little too far up the track in 1 and 2 out of the groove, and Nemechek is clear. Gibbs almost got up against the wall off turn 2 as well. And now Allmendinger goes for third on the 19 of Gibbs. But Gibbs holds clear on AJ off of turn 4. Throws the block at the start-finish line. You'd think all this battling for second, they'd be falling well behind the leader, Custer, but the lead is still only 0.6 of a second between Custer and the cars battling for position behind him. Nemechek now starting to pull away from Gibbs as Gibbs has his mirror. If we pull away just a little bit from third on back, and Brandon Jones, who is getting better and better on that long run after falling from 2nd to 5th, is now looking to get by AJ for position. Chandler Smith in 6th is also closing in here. Top 6 in the running order, all within 1.6 seconds of the race leader. And this is after over a dozen laps of green flag action to begin stage 2. We're almost halfway through this second stage now. We'll be at lap 22 of 45 in stage 2, this time by at the line. And that will be lap 67 of 188 total. Allmendinger again underneath Gibbs on the front stretch, side by side. Got under him off turn 4. Big side draft. Nearly clear before getting into turn 1. Allmendinger slides up the hill. Got a little too loose though. And Gibbs with the wide line. Able to hold clear again. Allmendinger now pushes Gibbs down the back straightaway, trying to send him off into turn 3. Hanging on the left rear corner panel, trying to get him a bit aero loose as well. And again, AJ underneath the 19. Brandon Jones with a big run behind both cars on the front stretch this time. Got off turn 4 amazingly. Now he's in the dirty air. Gibbs on that high lane. And Chandler Smith's going to get underneath Brandon Jones off turn 2. And now they're side by side for 5th. Allmendinger clear of Gibbs for 3rd place, getting into turn 3 this time by that slide job the lap before in that same corner. He's able to hold on in front of him by corner exit. See if he can run away from him just a little bit more. Side by side NASCAR nonstop commercial break on the USA Network. Lap 69, again 22 to go in this stage. We'll go through the full field running order from top to bottom here. Cole Custer leads by just a couple tenths over John Hunter Nemechek in 2nd. AJ Allmendinger is 3rd. Ty Gibbs 4th. And Brandon Jones 5th. Chandler Smith in 6th. Riley Herbst 7th. Noah Gregson 8th. Jesse Love 9th. And Austin Hill is 10th. Justin Allgaier 11th. Ryan Sieg 12th. Sam Mayer 13th. Tyler Reddick 14th. And Sheldon Creed is 15th. 16th for Anthony Alfredo. Parker Retzlaff 17th. Jeb Burton 18th. Make that Josh Williams now 18th. Jeb Burton 19th. And Shane Van Gisbergen 20th. Sammy Smith only up to 21st on the restart. Jeremy Clements 22nd. Kyle Sieg 23rd. Ross Chastain back at 24th. Brennan Poole 25th. Carson Kvapil 26th. Parker Kligerman 27th. Leland Honeyman 28th. Matt DiBenedetto 29th. Ryan Ellis 30th. Kyle Weatherman's the last car in the lead lap at 31st. Haley Deegan a lap down in 32nd. Dawson Cram 33rd. Lane Perkins 34th. 35th for Chad Fincham. Logan Beard in 36th. Garrett Smithley 37th. And Patrick Emmerling 38th. All 38 cars still in this race. Still no incident today through 70 laps. The only caution was the lap 45 stage 1 break. Our next scheduled yellow, if we make it to the end of stage 2 without a caution as well, will be lap 90 with another 45 lap stage here in stage 2. Pass for the lead has been made. John Hunter Nemechek out in front for the first time today as he gets by Cole Custer on lap 71. And that will be our second lead change of the day, and that's already one more lead change than we saw in last night's truck race. Still in the first half of this one.
This race isn't just about the race. It's about the doors, the number of fans wearing your number. This is the chance to carve your name into the history books. It's the NASCAR Xfinity Series.
Just 18 laps to go in stage 2. The Tennessee Lottery 250 from Nashville Super Speedway for the Xfinity Series. You're seeing that 30 of Noah Drake. These two are fighting for that 7th spot. Out in front, new leader in Nashville. John Hunter Nemechek was able to get by Cole Custer. Allmendinger running 3rd, Gibbs 4th, Chandler Smith is 5th. Take another look. You saw it in nonstop, but this is how it happened.
Yeah, Nemechek was just clearly faster, and I think Custer knew it. You know, didn't want to get past, but also didn't do anything crazy.
Well, sometimes if you're Custer and you fight that for 2 or 3 sets of corners, now Allmendinger's spraying you down as well, and you're going to lose another position, right? You know that you got 16 laps to the break, so you can just wait. Jesse Love's continued this march forward after starting in the back, plus 30 from the start of the race. Very well done.
Fighting with Herbst now for that 8th spot. Jesse Love got his first win. Came at Talladega earlier this year. And Herbst fighting back on the outside.
You can see the groove keeps getting moved further and further to the top. Hey, what are you hearing about John Hunter?
Well, just the fact that they're one of those teams that runs a variety of different drivers, 5 different drivers in this 20 car so far in 2020 series has gotten their first 4 wins of the season with 4 different drivers. Nemechek won at Vegas, Alabama won at Martinsville, Truex won at Dover, and Christopher Bell won just last week at New Hampshire. So good to see that variety of drivers working for this hard-working crew on the 20 team. Marty?
Let's talk about his teammate Ty Gibbs, Dave, and he dominated in stage 1, but so far not so good in stage 2, and the crew may know why. Listen to the radio.
For 2-3, just make sure your rotor beads off. Our right rear tire was going down the last run, so we adjusted on that balance.
That's the battle for H. Rage is on down there. Steve kind of explained that. Sometimes you don't know a tire's going down. You make an adjustment based on what you thought the car was doing. How does that affect the 19 on this run?
Yeah, so every time that the tires come off, you measure how much air pressure has built up because it tells you a little bit of the story of car balance, right? If the right front builds up more than the right rear, then the car's tight. So if you have a slow leak, you'll be able to tell because the buildups will be just completely off, and you instantly know that you have adjusted to a car that's not going to drive the same way. Normally, if the right rear goes down, it'll get tight for a little bit and then finally go down low enough that you start to get free again. In the Cup race, Rick, you might have 7 or 8 pit stops, so it's no big deal. The problem is the Xfinity Series race, you're only going to get 3 shots at it. So now you burned 1 going the wrong way. You're probably going to go back on stop 2, stop 3, and the adjustments made are going to be very important.
Handling might not be there right now for Ty Gibbs as he had to catch that one just a turn ago. Take a look at the Toyota drive state and where they run. John Hunter Nemechek up front. Gibbs is 4th, trying to hold on to that 4th position, though, as Chandler Smith, also behind the wheel of a Toyota, is right on his back bumper. And Chandler Smith's really turned things around here in stage 2.
Yeah, they were really struggling in that first stage, like you just said, but the right changes to the car, and now they're going forward. And if you're Ty Gibbs, you have to battle all these positions. You're not racing for a championship, but the further you come, the better position you're running when you come down pit road, the better opportunity you have to leave with the right spot. So any spot that you got to protect the party.
Jeff way 2-3 for Chandler Smith in that stage 1 run. Much better on this run. He got long run speed that he showed in practice earlier today. Temperatures that we see nearing 130 degrees inside the race car. Chandler Smith is maybe the only driver in the Xfinity Series who's not run a cool seat ever. And I know that's better not having one at all than what Riley Herbst is going to, which Water going to is. But is a driver today, Jeff, giving up something? It's not wearing a t-shirt when everybody else in the field is.
You know, Marty, so it really is driver preference. If he's comfortable and doesn't feel like he needs it, and there's no evidence that he does, then don't run it. Because if you don't need it, why put it in the car and have something that can fail? Or on top of that, it does weigh something. It does pull some amperage from the alternator, so it can create issues. So if you're a driver, it's like, hey man, I'm good. I don't need it. And it's Xfinity Series. They're shorter races than Cup. I'm good with it. But you better not complain. Like, don't complain about it being hot if you don't want the cool shirt.
And this is outside, but they do have the hose that goes to their helmet, so that does circulate some air throughout the helmet. And then there's also the NACA ducts that will direct air more on you, also through the car.
Yeah, the big problem today is that, it's just air so hot, right? Like even the air that blows into the helmet, it could be a little bit cooler than ambient. To be quite honest, the big gain there is normally a carbon monoxide filter because with all of these engines running, not so much here, but like a Bristol or Martinsville, it kind of settles into the racetrack. So you just want to keep fresh air into the driving. Oh, this is a great view right here. So this is the helmet. This is the hose you talked about, Rick. It kind of goes down, and there's probably an air conditioner. I use that word very loosely because it does cool, but we're only talking a few degrees. It's not like in your car, street car, where it blows ice cold air.
And Allmendinger makes the pass. It was 128 degrees inside that car. And he's able to clear Cole Custer to take second away.
If you want to cool your driver the best, you just want your car to drive like that. Because I'll tell you, the driving good, Cam, cools the driver down way more than an air conditioner.
For sure, and for AJ Allmendinger, crew chief Alex Jan said, you know what, a cool AJ Allmendinger is worth the extra weight for the cool suit and everything that comes with it. But this team looking to turn their season around. Remember, the last Xfinity Series win AJ has was here last year in Nashville. That car was so good. So I asked the team how that influenced their setup for this weekend. And Alex Jones was honest with me. He said other weekends this year, they have gone down a very different path and setups relative to their notebooks. And it has taken them in the absolute wrong direction. So, a different approach this weekend. Marty, they almost brought an identical setup this weekend that they had the winning race car last year for AJ Allmendinger, who runs in second.
Justin Allgaier and Sam Mayer both won it. The big question is Riley Herbst that cool suit any better with 4 laps to go in stage 2? Listen in.
What do you say? From now on, the trailer.
So, Steve, you guys just talked about it. What is the crew chief giving up by not running an air conditioner? He clearly wants that and the cool suit moving forward.
I mean, look, I think you have to understand. The first thing you have to do is have your driver as comfortable as possible for peak performance. But like Jeff said, you know, it's you're stacking ounces. I mean, none of that's free. It all takes power. It takes weight. I didn't quite understand what he was saying there. Whether he didn't have an air conditioner because he had a cool suit. And the cool suit's quick, I guess is what I take from that, Jeff?
Well, you can run the cool suit and the conditioned helmet. Like, you can have both. And I think because a lot of drivers do this, they'll run the cool suit, but then they just pump air into the helmet. And what he's saying is, hey, if this cool suit fails, then I need the other one to back me up. As we see, great battle going on for fourth.
Once again, Gibbs under attack as Chandler Smith. That 81 has closed the gap. Here comes Noah Gregson in the 30 as well.
One thing is for sure, where you see that 98's running now, whether that's the preferred groove or where it ends up, there are cars all over this racetrack. I mean, look at this 98 on the bottom of the screen. He is comfortably driving up into the gray.
Not comfortably. We've heard it on the radio.
Confidently? Was that
I think confidently would be right. I think he's very uncomfortable behind the wheel of that car right now, and he's voiced his opinion as the battle for fourth continues. Final lap of stage 2. John Hunter Nemechek looking for his first stage win of 2024, and it will be his first at Nashville. He'll do it. He wins stage 2. John Hunter Nemechek. Good run in stage 2. Allmendinger's going to finish second. Custer, Gibbs, Chandler Smith, Noah Gregson, Jesse Love, Brandon Jones, Allgaier, and Herbst, rounding out the top 10 in stage 2.
As you heard right there from Rick Allen, I'll reiterate the finishing order for Stage 2 for the top 10, all getting the stage points. John Nemechek wins the stage by a little over 2 seconds. AJ Allmendinger second, Cole Custer third, Ty Gibbs fourth, and Chandler Smith fifth. Noah Gregson sixth, Jesse Love seventh, Brandon Jones eighth, Justin Allgaier ninth, and Riley Herbst 10th. Second stage win of the season first stage win of the season, should say, for John Hunter Nemechek. You say first or second? I think it was second, first at Nashville. Either way, obviously, he's not running for points, but that's a playoff point that goes towards the 20 car, which has 4 wins already for this season. So by way of the owner's standings, looking pretty good there. And we'll have our second wave of pit stops coming up during the stage break. Still no cautions for incident. Our first 2 yellows are both the stage ends at lap 45 and lap 90. Led us to a 132.62 mile per hour average race speed at this point, just a little under an hour from the drop of the green flag to where we are now at nearly the halfway mark. We'll take an ad break and then have those pit stops coming up shortly. You're listening live on KRC. Mr. Jody Patterson, Tim Brown, Rook NASCAR fan, T-Van, thanks for tuning in. $99 votes on the voting poll. 46% of you say somebody other than Gibbs, Chastain, or Custer will win this race today. We will end that poll now that we're at the end of stage 2. Appreciate everybody that did vote. So your guys' vote is different from mine. I would have taken Ty Gibbs for the win, but you guys are saying somebody other than Gibbs, Chastain, or Custer will win. Nemechek did win stage 2. So there is that. See who will have the bounce back performance now as we have pit stops.
And no, pit road is not open after stage 2, but Riley Herbst could not stand it anymore. He couldn't get that hose plugged in, Jeff, to be able to drain the cool cert, so the crew had to help him do that, and they made the decision, hey, I don't care if pit road's open or closed or whatever, I need to get this done right now. So he came down pit road to get that cool cert drained. That's what the crew's helping him do right now.
Well, there's no way you're going to do that and start anywhere near the front anyway. So just come down here where nobody else is on pit road and get it done.
Pit road now is open, and so here comes the field, Kim.
And AJ Allmendinger looking for a better stop than last, where they lost 4 positions. AJ said, though, I just need a little help on entry and center. You see him top left of your screen. Just a small air pressure adjustment on those Goodyear tires to give the car more longevity. In terms of the heat, he said, I don't need another drink bottle. Dave, he needs a bottle of water to dump on himself to cool off.
Stage winner John Hunter Nemechek says he needs a little bit more turn on front and exit. That has already been made with air pressure, Marty.
Ty Gibbs is just way too free. Remember, they're going to undo that last adjustment for that tire that was going down. There you see the track bar adjustment. Paul Fletcher said, my biggest problem is I'm free on entry. That doesn't bother me. Right front completely gives up the longer the run goes on. Custer again doing a nice job with that 0-0 team. They gain another spot on pit road, but John Hunter Nemechek holds serve, Rick.
Yeah, I was going to say him.
So Nemechek holds on to the lead. Custer second out of the pits. Big movers on pit road. Sam Mayer up 5 spots. Up 4 for Austin Hill and Justin Allgaier up a few. So number 1 pit box does not win the race off pit road for Custer this time. He is second. Instead, and again, John Hunter Nemechek, who won stage 2, will still be your leader when we begin stage 3. Haley Deegan gets the free pass at the stage 2 end, so she is now back on the lead lap. We'll have 32 cars on the lead lap in total when we begin the 3rd and final stage of today's race. Time for our second diecast showing of the day, and this one is a Kyle Busch M&M's Toyota Camry from 2013. Showing off a Kyle Busch diecast because I did last night, and he probably has the most notable win at Nashville Super Speedway pre-NASCAR Cup Series coming back here in 2021, and that was when he had smashed the guitar in victory lane in that race. And so for any of the Kyle Busch, fans going through some struggles this season, watching him struggle on a nearly weekly basis at this point, here's a reminder of the glory years of Kyle Busch, at least with his classic M&M's paint scheme from his Joe Gibbs racing days. So again, there you have it. And just like with that Hamlin diecast from earlier, this one also from 2013. First year of the Gen 6 car. So that is our Stage 2 diecast showing. 83 likes on the stream. We're only 17 away from 2012. I'm pretty sure that this is 2013. I'm almost positive it's 2013. If it's not 2013, it's 2014. It's definitely a Gen 6 car and not a next gen, because I have 124 scale diecast of like some of the Car of Tomorrows, and it looks a lot different from this one. And they're all Lionel Racing, so I do know for a fact that this is at least a Gen 6. And I don't remember getting many of them past the 2013 season of the 164 scale diecast. Jeez. Yeah, our goal of 100 likes on the stream. We are almost there. Yeah, the Car of Tomorrow schemes with Busch, he had like the plated bottom. This one isn't plated, it's just chrome. The trim around the car. Get a restart in here pretty shortly. Have a Johnny Benson diecast? I don't think I do. Off the top of my head. I don't think I do. I'd probably have to dig and find for it. I got a ton of 1/64 scale diecast, so I'm not going to say 100% sure that I don't have one, but I don't think I do off the top of my head. Just 15 likes away from our goal now of 100. Still one stage to get there, a little past halfway now. They'll be going green this time by. Front starters on the restart in those front couple rows. You got John Hunter Nemechek, Cole Custer on the front row. AJ Allmendinger, Ty Gibbs. Also going to be up there. Couple of slow pit stops for Brandon Jones and Jesse Love, both falling out of the top 10. They're now going to be back in 20th and 22nd for this restart. And just like we've seen all weekend with the restarts, inside row 1 will be the control car here for Nemechek. We'll see if he can get to the lead. Custer has experience on the outside of row 1 in that initial start. Although he spins the tires on the restart after a push from behind by Gibbs. Green flag back in the air. 3 wide into the first turn. A few different rows in the back half of the top 10 doing that. Nemechek easily clear for the lead on the backstretch. A lot more lane changing going on in the back straightaway. Car's pulling out of the outside line, trying to make a pass to the inside into turn 3 on others in front of him. Custer wiggles a little bit in that second place position off turn 4. Still remains in second as the side-by-side battle for third is holding up those cars behind him between Ty Gibbs and AJ Allmendinger. Gibbs on the outside of that battle, AJ down low. And again, John Hunter Nemechek is your race leader following this restart, just as he had won stage 2. 90 laps to go at the Nashville Superspeedway, 98 in the books. 3 wide, Josh Williams, Parker Kligerman, Ryan Sieg sandwiched in the middle lane between them both. Williams gets cleared. Merging in line behind him are a few cars also. Still no cautions for incident to this point. A relatively clean race. Still outside the fuel window, though, to make it to the end. Get 75 to 80 laps on a full fuel run. So if we do go green all the way through the final stage, just as we did stages 1 and 2, we will see green flag pit stops at some point here in stage 3, and Sammy Smith having an issue. He comes to pit road.
Sammy Smith, the 8 car, Steve, it's their choice how many they want to change, but the driver thinks it's the right rear.
Yeah, and I would always change 4 to save an extra 5 or 6 seconds and be wrong and have to pit twice. Now, the penalty is with 88 laps to go, you can't make it on fuel. So now they're putting on their last set of sticker tires. They're going to have to get really lucky as now we have a battle for the lead, Rick.
Here comes the 00, Cole Custer to the end.
Yep, Custer clear for the lead at the start-finish line as he gets back by John Hunter Nemechek. Capitalizing a few laps into this restart, getting back out in front. Second different time Custer has led today. Justin Allgaier got pretty wide off turn 2. Slowing some cars up down the backstretch in that outside lane now as Sam Mayer and Chandler Smith look to attack for position. Brandon Jones trying to work on Tyler Reddick for a spot. That battles for 15th. After a slow pit stop from Jones, relegated him back to 22nd for the restart initially. And Jesse Love, who restarted in 20th, is still back at 21st. After a slow pit stop of his own as well. Now, Jones back at stage 1 looked to have the fastest long run car. He didn't really move back through the field on the long run at stage 2. He was 7th. So maybe he went the wrong way on an adjustment from stage 1 to stage 2 for Brandon. But now having to wait to see where he'll be after the stage 3 restart. So that unscheduled pit stop from Sammy Smith, by the way, right rear wheel seemed to feel loose. So they came back onto pit road, changed tires, retightened the lug nuts. Loose wheel is what caused that unscheduled stop again for Sammy Smith. A few laps into the green flag action to begin stage 3. Chandler Smith, Justin Allgaier nose to tail. Allgaier clear still. It's a battle for 5th on the racetrack. First time Allgaier's been in the top 5 tonight. Been in the back half, a couple of bad pit stops from drivers in front of him, and pretty decent restart. Now he's up in 5th. Nearly half a second lead, a little more than that now for Cole Custer over John Hunter Nemechek. AJ Allmendinger, 0.8 of a second back of the lead in 3rd. Ty Gibbs, 2.1 seconds back at 4th. And Justin Allgaier, as I mentioned moments ago, in 5th. Allgaier is 2.9 seconds off the lead. So that's the top 5 in the running order, the intervals between them. And again, with 83 laps to go, we are outside that fuel window to make it to the end. Waiting to see what all happens here. Chandler Smith still putting a fight to Allgaier. That battle for 5th ain't done yet. Biggest movers since the restart would include Riley Herbst, Brendan Poole, Parker Kligerman. Kligerman up 6, up 9 for Brendan Poole. Riley Herbst up 10. Now Brandon Jones is up 7 spots, so he's the 3rd biggest mover since the restart. Brandon up to 15th from 22nd. Oh boy, big loose moment for Justin Allgaier. He went way up the racetrack, sailed it into 3 and 4, lost a spot, at least one. Chandler Smith easily clears him, and now his former teammate at JRM, Noah Gragson, battles to the inside into turns 1 and 2. Great save, though, by Allgaier. At the very least, kept it off the wall. Justin seems to be struggling with the car, maybe overstepping the boundaries just a little bit as he continues to try to run that middle to upper groove. Yeah, Chandler Smith never touched him. He just sailed it in a little too deep. Rear tire sliding out from underneath him. But he held on to it at least and still holds on to 6th in front of Gregson, who got to his inside, couldn't complete the pass. Allgaier clear the next lap by a few car lengths. So as Cole Custer leads this race, we'll go through the top 10 in the running order here, side-by-side commercial break on the USA Network. Again, Cole Custer leads, John Hunter Nemechek in 2nd, AJ Allmendinger 3rd, Ty Gibbs 4th, Chandler Smith 5th, Justin Allgaier 6th, Noah Gragson 7th, Sam Mayer 8th, Austin Hill 9th, Ryan Sieg is 10th. That is your top 10. You're listening live on KRC to the Tennessee Lottery 250. We'll take another ad break and continue our live commentary coverage on the other side. Austin Hill putting a fight with Sam Mayer for 8th. Outside of AJ Allmendinger here this weekend, though, the Chevy's struggling a bit. To the Joe Gibbs Toyotas and that lone SHR Ford that's been towards the top 3 all day, Cole Custer. I think the lowest Custer's been in the running order was 4th, which is where he finished at the end of stage 1. And they've definitely made some good adjustments to that car to get him quicker than a lot of the other drivers in the field here to begin this final stage. At 125.050 mile per hour average race speed to this point. Still no cautions for incident as we were down to just 77 laps to go in the initial 188 laps. That was scheduled for this race, 250 miles. A little under an hour and 15 minutes from the drop of the green flag to where we are right now. Ty Gibbs has still led the most laps today as he led the first 48 from the pole. After losing the lead to Cole Custer on pit road through stage 2. Custer the only driver to lead more than once. He's led 2 times. Janer Nemechek with 30 laps led in this race. Custer has led 34 and counting. So those are the 3 different drivers to lead. We've had 3 lead changes amongst those 3 different drivers to lead in this race as well. And again, those stage yellows lap 45, lap 90. The only cautions in the race. Albert Wilson, thanks for tuning in also. I think Custer's going to be in the Haas car next season. I'm assuming you're talking about the Cup car. Because they will still have 2 Xfinity teams fielded next year as they do right now as well.
Back. Can he clear him here on exit? He's got him there. He gets in front of that 20 and Allmendinger up to second.
I think Custer's in trouble. We'll see. I think Allmendinger's got the best car.
1.2 seconds separating the top 2.
Inside their pit window, you heard 16 on tires, so you figure they have to run 90. Now, Easy Mass says, oh, just run like 45 pit in the middle, but that doesn't normally happen in the Xfinity Series. Normally they run a little bit longer. They're willing to risk it. And I think with some guys in the field that aren't worried about points, like John Hunter Nemechek or Ty Gibbs, I think we're going to see a big, wide pit window with guys doing different things, Kim.
You see AJ Allmendinger in that second position now, gunning for the first position would be their first win on the season. And the team told me AJ mentally was in a great mood this weekend. He loves this place. And that really helps his mental fortitude, especially through the heat. And guys, I've listened to him on the radio. Usually, it doesn't matter if the car is fantastic. He is a hothead behind the wheel. He has been very silent in the car, which indicates to me, Dave, that his car is very good.
So, Steve, if you ran it all the way, it'd be another 50 laps, and you probably need to think about coming for fuel, but that's a long way. What will John Hunter Nemechek and his crew do? Well, I think what they will do, they'll take a little bit of that adjustment that they gave him the last time back. That's what the driver just called in. I like what you did, but I didn't like what you did last time. I got to have a little bit of that back out of the race car.
Those are the best. I can definitely go back on my adjustment. Sometimes, like I mentioned, when being an Xfinity Series crew chief is very different than Cup because you only have 3 swings. So sometimes you have to make a big adjustment. You kind of have to jump over. You don't want to waste 3 adjustments kind of sneaking up to the balance. Jump completely over it, and it's always easier to back up.
Right, AJ. I said I thought Custer was in trouble once you cleared Nemechek, and you're proving me right. A tenth of a second faster every lap. He's running the 0-0 down.
It's like a birthday present for you, Bert. You're right.
It's a miracle.
Well, John Hunter Nemechek's not losing sight right now of AJ Allmendinger. The 2 of them are closing the gap on Custer.
Just didn't see the speed in the 16 car all year that we've seen today. And it's at a really important time. You can tell AJ was starting to get a little down, not today, but getting a little down on the overall schedule and how they're running. This is what a team needs to keep that energy, Steve.
Well, put yourself in the seat of AJ Allmendinger. Forever, you dominated the Xfinity Series road course races. Now there's the new hot shoe on the scene. SVG is the road course master, winning the last 2, right? Now listen, AJ's still in the mix. Now you're a teammate with a guy that you know you're going to have to race at the tracks that you once weren't guaranteed to win, but you were in competition for one. I think that's what makes this oval more important.
Marty, how about Cole Custer?
Chat about Cole Custer. He said it a moment ago to Jonathan Tony. They talked about when they're going to pit. Tony told me about lap 145, but he also said, listen, we have a terrific short run car, Jonathan. Do not be afraid to be aggressive on this last adjustment to put us in a window to win the race. So see how critical is this last adjustment. For a guy like Cole Custer, who's out front right now, but it's showing he loses speed as the run goes on.
You know, because you only have 1 set of tires left, there's no question that it's going to be your last stop. If you come back in, it's not because you need an adjustment. It's because you had an issue or you're working on something else. If you're going to win the race, this final pit stop with the final adjustment will be the decision point for the race team.
And if we have green flag pit stops, this is a difficult pit road to get on. We saw drivers in Xfinity and Cup in practice this morning trying to work on getting on pit road and multiple missed pit entries. So it is a challenge, and I'm not sure that everybody practices it. Who is going to be the best at getting on pit road?
And Steve, with 67 laps to go, we're now in that fuel window.
Yeah, I don't think I'm making out fuel, but I think you're trying to get at least 15 more laps on this set of tires. I would try to push it out 20. But remember, it's then, a little bit of game of chicken. Who's going to come to pit road first?
Who comes first and pulls everybody with them? Well, Custer out front here.
So there you have it. Green flag pit stops could be coming up in the next 15 to 20 laps or so. 66 laps remain with Cole Custer having a 6/10 of a second lead over AJ Allmendinger right now. John Hunter Nemechek is third, Ty Gibbs fourth, and Chandler Smith rounds out the top five and fifth. Justin Allgaier sixth, Noah Gragson seventh, Sam Mayer eighth, Austin Hill ninth, and Ryan Sieg is 10th. Sheldon Creed in 11th, Parker Retzlaff 12th, Brandon Jones 13th, Anthony Alfredo 14th, and Parker Kligerman 15th. Riley Herbst is 16th, Tyler Reddick 17th, Shane Van Gisbergen 18th, Jesse Love 19th, and Brennan Poole is 20th. Carson Kvapil 21st, Jeb Burton 22nd, Leland Honeyman 23rd, Josh Williams 24th, Jeremy Clements 25th, Ryan Ellis 26th, Ross Chastain 27th, Kyle Sieg 28th, Haley Deegan 29th, and Matt DiBenedetto, last car in the lead lap at 30. H3 had a right rear wheel loose. Kyle Weatherman is 32nd, Logan Bearden 33rd. 34th place is Dawson Cram, Chad Fincham 35th, Garrett Smithley 36th. Lane Perkins 37th, Patrick Emmerly is 38th. No cautions for incident today and no DNFs to this point. All 38 cars that started the race are still in it. And again, we are down to now 63 laps to go. 127.070 mile per hour average race speed to this point. 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 9 seconds into this race. From the drop of the green flag at the initial start for lap 1 to where we are currently. Only 2 yellows. The stage breaks lap 45, lap 90. Cole Custer has led 48 laps in this race. Tied for the most now with Ty Gibbs. 30 laps led for John Hunter Nemechek as well. And Custer's the only driver to lead more than once. Gibbs started on the pole. He won stage 1. Nemechek won stage 2. Custer, though, trying to take control and win this race. AJ Allmendinger right there with him, though. And will lock them into the playoffs. Custer in a much better spot in points than AJ Allmendinger is, but even still, just never know how many different winners we may get. They are back from their NASCAR nonstop commercial break, but we'll still take an ad break of our own here and then continue our live commentary coverage of today's Tennessee Lottery 250 at Nashville. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more NASCAR content as we continue onward in the late going to the race. Gotta get my laptop on the charger here before it dies also. I had to put it on a little earlier and I didn't. Had low battery for a minute. Down to 11%. We're good. Don't want to lose the stream. Justin Allgaier and Chandler Smith have been battling for position for a large majority of this stage. Battling for fifth still. They're closing in on Ty Gibbs in front of him now. It's a 3-car battle for fourth. Big push from Chandler Smith to the back in the 19 of Gibbs. On that back straightaway as he tries to battle the 7. Gibbs just does not look as good as he did when he had the clean air all the way back in stage 1. It was my pick to win the race, but definitely not looking like he's got race winning speed. You never know what could happen, though. We get a bunch of late race restarts, though the way this race has gone so far, it doesn't look like that would be the case. Oh, the old saying, though, cautions breed cautions. And again, everybody still has to make one more pit stop yet. They are not good on fuel to the end, but they are within the fuel window to make it to the end if they were to pit anywhere between now and, of course, the actual end of the fuel run with about 15 to 20 laps to go. Big time crossover move for Allgaier on Chandler Smith this lap. Chandler cleared him off turn 4, but Justin Allgaier gets him back in turns 1 and 2. Allows for Gibbs to hold on in 4th place again. These 3 make it nearly 4 drivers now as Noah Gragson looks to the inside of Chandler Smith for position. 3 and 4. 4 drivers battling for fourth. They're all about 4.5 to 5 seconds or more off the lead. AJ Allmendinger closing in on Cole Custer. Through lap traffic, the lead is down under a half a second between the 00 and the 16. Allmendinger gets held up with a lap car above him off turn 4. That's Dawson Cram. He couldn't quite clear him. Actually, Chad Fincham. Sorry, Fincham in the 14. Going a second lap down. Allowed for Custer now to lead by 7/10 of a second at the line. Couple tenths quicker than AJ that last lap. Just AJ got off of turn 2 and he was side by side. He couldn't exit all the way near the wall, so that cut some speed off. Plus the side draft of just running door to door with another car all the way. Again, Gregson to the inside of Chandler Smith. Lap car on the bottom lane, but a little up out of the groove into that gray area for Chandler Smith. Off the exit of turn 4, so that causes for Gregson to move into 6th. And Allmendinger back to trying to close on Custer again. He got into within about a half a second to 6/10 of a second of Custer for that lead, and he's kind of stalled out right around there. Once he got to that point, they started trading lap times back and forth with one another. Could be a fact of Custer just being in the cleaner air than Allmendinger. AJ will close when they get up close to lap cars, but Custer is passing those lap cars efficiently enough to keep that same 5 to 6/10 of a second gap between himself and the 16 of Allmendinger. Showing Jesse Love on screen. Had that slow pit stop. He's 18th. Restarted 20th. Still 54 laps to go. And Brandon Jones up to 11th after restarting 22nd. Oh, Gibbs gets turned by Justin Allgaier. And he backs it into the wall. Chandler Smith made side-swiping contact with Allgaier as they were trying to slow each other up there off turn 4 to keep from getting into Gibbs. Got into him in the middle of 3 and 4. Gibbs goes around. It's our first caution for incident today.
Ty Gibbs in front of us.
You want traffic to listen right into the fence as well. Let's take a look.
Allgaier really heavy in the throttle. Watch right here. Goes to the throttle real aggressively.
They were fighting for the 4th position. Was there contact? I mean, it looked like he was really close to that left rear.
You know, it was hard to tell, but you know, aerodynamically, to your contact there, you know, that's contact, and you know, if you're Gibbs, you're hot, and you have every reason to be. You know, you just kind of run into in a vulnerable part of the corner. See right there, he's just the 7. He's just in the gas really hard and just made contact with him.
Around goes the 19. Let's listen in to the radio of Allgaier.
Oh, I think I just got up here earlier. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, tell him I'm sorry because I don't want a retaliation here.
So he feels like he was already either loose or getting loose because of the air. Maybe the contact finished him off. I'm not sure Ty's going to see it that way.
Yeah, and by the way, it's, you know, I don't blame Ty.
The statistic of cautions from a year ago to this year, 11 a year ago, that right there was the 3rd call.
Well, this will be interesting. The 7 Marty was reporting had an alternator issue, or at least a charging issue. The batteries were dying. And why that matters is he's having to shut off his brake fans and all these things. At some point, you might have to shut off the cool suit for the driver. So if you were going to put a fresh battery in, I don't think you would open the hood and diagnose that issue, because if the belt's missing, I don't think you have time to put it on without losing a lap. But they could change a battery. These teams are very, very practiced up on how to change a battery. It's the front of the left rear tire. You would do it when you change left side tires. The problem or the challenge is just so many cars in the lead lap. There's 29 cars in the lead lap. So if you change a battery, not only will you go back to 29, but you'll go back to there next to the guy that you spun out on the racetrack. When I'm not sure, I mean, that's silly, but I would keep that in mind. I'm like, maybe we don't want to go back there. I don't want, if he runs us down from the back, that's one thing, but maybe not go back with the guy who's mad at us.
You're saying we might need a caution there?
Pit road is open. Cole Custer leading the field down there, and they're headed towards you, Kim.
Noah Grigson coming in from the 4th position. You see him top left, really helping Red Jones Racing take a step in their program. Noah saying, I'm edgy and on top of the racetrack. I need more rear drive. And as you see, AJ Allmendinger's top right. AJ said, center off is fine, but I lost a little ability to get in the corner. Right rear needs some help. There is an air pressure adjustment. Maybe just a little slow on the right side there, Dave.
John Hunter Nemechek said, I like being free to the right rear fields, unattached, all the way back on that last adjustment. Marty.
Dave Cole Custer get his first win of 2024. The crews on their part, they gained a collective 4 spots here on pit road today. He said we just need more long run grip on that 00. They'll do it again. They'll hold serve here on pit road. And yes, Steve dropped the point about Justin Allgaier and his team. They are going to change a battery under this caution.
Allmendinger is going to be furious. They lost 7 spots on pit road. Remember, he was fighting up there for the lead, but now he comes off pit road in 9th. Custer still leading. This is why we're under caution.
So 50 laps to go. Cole Custer out in front after winning the race off of pit road. We'll wait for the rest of this leaderboard to update when they get back to the start-finish line next time with a lengthy pit stop. Ty Gibbs was the cause of the caution after a spin off of the right front fender of the 7. And that spin took place off the exit of turn 4. Free pass with the caution flag goes to Matt DiBenedetto. So Matty D in 30th place is now back on the lead lap. Top 10 for this upcoming restart has Cole Custer in the lead, Jonathan Nemechek second. Chandler Smith, Austin Hill will line up behind them. Then Noah Gragson, Sheldon Creed, Riley Herb, Sam Mayer, AJ Allmendinger, and Ryan Sieg. That is the top 10 for our next restart. Tennessee Lottery 250. Easy E Network, thanks for tuning in. NASCAR, Jeremy Granger Jr., see you guys in the chat as well. Sure to hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. We're 3 likes away from our goal of 100. We're at 97 currently, nearly 200 concurrent viewers watching. So I appreciate you guys for watching all the way through this one. Take another break and continue this live commentary coverage following that. Listening live on KRC. $30 cars on the lead lap. Justin Allgaier back at 29th after the battery change. He does remain on the lead lap, though. So there's that. Ty Gibbs, after that spin, is back at 20. So Custer and Nemechek will be on the front row for the restart. Custer more than likely will take the inside of row 1 as that control lane, as we have seen all throughout the racing this weekend through the truck and Xfinity race now. And we have hit our goal for likes. We are at 102 out of a goal of 100. We still got 48 to go, so appreciate that, everybody. We are 3 for 3 this weekend and hitting that like goal. 1 to go this time by.
Xfinity Series. Doing work today again. Got him all the way up to 4th.
And looks like they're going to go around again. Oh, no, they turned the lights off. All right, so the choose is taking place.
How about the 21? Choosing the bottom. I thought he would have took outside row 2.
Well, if you are Chandler Smith in the 81, that is the clear indication you better be blocking in turn one.
Yeah. All right, the reason the caution came out was contact between the 7 and the 19.
And we got a little better view of it. Guys in our trailer doing great work. I think it's pretty clear what happened there. Look, Algar's not a dirty. A little bit of damage there. Got into it.
Well, the interesting now is with the 7 changing the battery, it's back to the pack near the 19. So we'll see. They're not exactly next to one another, but they don't have a field between them like they would have.
Yeah, this is when, if you're a crew chief on the 19 car, you have to be reminding Ty that tomorrow's race is the most important. Trying to retaliate.
46 laps remaining from here at Nashville.
And actually parked Lane Riggs for 2 laps yesterday because of a retaliation on track and causing an incident. In fact, it was the only caution of Stage 3 in last night's truck race. So green flag back in the air, Cole Custer. Pretty good launch through the restart zone. Nemechek holding on the outside for now. Into turns 1 and 2, Custer is clear in the center of the corner. Custer goes up the hill a little too much. He got back in the gas too soon, and Nemechek crosses him over, and John Hunter Nemechek leads now. Chandler Smith going for second into turns 3 and 4. 4 wide further back in the pack around Shane Van Gisbergen. He's sandwiched in the middle. Speaking of middle, Noah Gregson goes into that middle groove, trying to split the 0-0 in the 21 through 3 and 4 as well. Still side by side with Custer. Hill was able to clear for third. Top 3 cars on the bottom row. Last restart as well. And Custer falls to 5th from 2nd. Or rather, Nemechek was outside of row 1, excuse me. He got the crossover to get to the lead. Cole Custer, who restarted in the lead, was clear, but got back in the gas maybe a little too soon, washed up the track, out of the groove, and now he's back in traffic. 2 of the more winningest drivers in the Xfinity Series, though, running second and third now, Chandler Smith and Austin Hill. Hill, a pretty poor qualifying performance earlier today, but has just slowly been chipping away as this race progresses. Has got himself up again into the top 3 for the first time. Noah Gregson in 4th place, just a little bit further back than that. And a pretty tight battle between the JGR Toyotas 1 and 2 on the positioning order between Nemechek and Smith. Chandler within a few car lengths behind him in that 2nd place spot. Fastest laps of the day. That last lap for Nemechek and for Austin Hill. Chandler Smith's fastest lap just 2 laps before that at lap 144. Jesse Love in 11th place also ran his fastest lap of the race at lap 144. It's the only 4 drivers in the field to run their fastest laps of the race. And now Shane Van Gisbergen can join them as well, lap 146 with his fastest. But those are the only 5 drivers to run their fastest laps of the day off of this restart and just in the final stage in general. Everybody else ran their fastest laps all the way back at the very start of the race when they had a clean track to begin stage 1. So those are maybe the teams that have gotten better with the adjustments, just getting better on the racetrack overall. Starting to see more drivers start to click away lap times faster here in this final stage. Sam Mayer just ran his fastest lap the last time by as well. Mayer in 7th currently. Carson Coapel pretty quietly, also starting deep in the field in this race. His first career start at Nashville in the Xfinity Series. Just his 4th career start in the Xfinity Series, all in that 88 for Junior Motorsports, that extra entry. He's fielded multiple part-time drivers this year. Coapel currently battling for 10th with Sheldon Creed and Ryan Sieg. Takes it 3 wide underneath both of them now off turn 2 down the backstretch. Into turns 3 and 4. Coapel on the bottom getting held tightly by Creed, but clears the 18 of Creed. And still, no, not quite going to stay underneath Sieg. And not covering the outside with Creed having that run off the top lane as well, might actually cost Quaffle a chance to stay in 11th. Quaffle will now fall back to 12th where he was running a couple laps ago anyway. 4/10 of a second lead now for Nemechek over Smith. It's only grown just a little bit, a little less than 0.04 of a second quicker that last lap for Nemechek. And now even less than that the next lap at the line as well. With the timing and scoring that you see on our screen. Down to just 38 laps to go. Everybody is good on fuel to make it to the end, and in fact, all these teams are on their final set of tires to the end of this race now as well. So final set of tires. Shane Van Gisbergen and Parker Kligerman battling for 14th. Brandon Jones and Justin Allgaier, two junior motorsport teammates side by side, also for position just behind both of them. SVG not quite clear of Kligerman yet. Came close off turn 2 that last time by. Brandon Jones right in line behind the 48. Kligerman, not a lot of room there. 3 wide down to the apron on the front stretch goes the car underneath of Allgaier and Retzlaff into turns 1 and 2. Looked like that was Anthony Alfredo in the 5 car who's trying to make that move. Another side-by-side NASCAR nonstop commercial break with about 35 laps to go. John Hunter Nemechek still leads by about 0.3 of a second over Chandler Smith. Just over an hour and a half from the drop of the green flag to where we are now. Under 23.11 mile per hour average race speed. 3 cautions, only 1 for incident, which came out not that long ago. Lap 135 of 188. Involving Ty Gibbs, Justin Allgaier, and Chandler Smith after Gibbs had spun off the right front fender of Justin Allgaier. Allgaier got into him towards corner exit of turn 4. Gibbs backed it into the outside wall while Chandler Smith scraped the wall a little bit and bounced into Allgaier a tad. Just trying to check up to keep from running into Gibbs. That's why this 81 was also considered involved, but obviously no damage to repair on pit road for Chandler Smith. He still remains in second. While Allgaier had to make a battery change during that pit stop, is now falling to 14th. And Ty Gibbs, with the slight damage to the back of his race car, has only made his way to 23rd since the restart. After Gibbs had started on the pole today, 64 laps led for Cole Custer, most in the race so far. Nemechek has led for 43. Those two have led 2 different times. Nemechek obviously leads now. And Ty Gibbs led the first 48 laps from the pole. 3 different drivers have led. 4 lead changes amongst those 3 different leaders in this race. We'll take our final green flag ad break as we get you closer to the finish of the Tennessee Lottery 250. You're listening live on KRC. Pete Creamer. Stuart, thanks for tuning in also. Some of the others that I just saw in the chat there recently. Nemechek now out to a 0.7 of a second lead with 30 laps to go post-commercial break. Pretty big gap between second and third on the racetrack right now as well. Nearly 3.5 seconds the difference between Nemechek and Smith. A little bit of trash on the grill of the 20 of Nemechek. Could potentially cause some overheating issues. That trash is still there, and this could be an interesting development here as Chandler Smith tries to close again. There's a lap car not too far off in the distance in front of John Hunter Nemechek, so he's really hoping he catches him quickly. And he's able to get the trash off the grill by getting a little turbulence on the nose of his race car down the straightaway. And Hopefully that turbulence is able to move that trash off the grill. Nemechek still closing into turn 1. Getting right up in line behind the 07. And that trash was able to blow off, so that was a very successful maneuver for John Hunter. And he only lost a couple tenths of his lead, still remains out in front by about 3 or 4 car lengths. Had to make that maneuver pretty quickly, showing the slow motion replay. You could see the trash blowing off of the grill of the race car. AJ Allmendinger, who looked to be really quick towards the end of stage 2, is now in 7th. He lost 7 positions on pit road, falling from 2nd to 8th. And he's only gotten 1 spot back since the restart, which was the pass he just made on Cole Custer. And Cole Custer restarted in the lead, jumped the cushion a little bit in turns 1 and 2, got up the hill on their get up to speed lap following the restart. He initially fell back to 5th, has lost a few more spots back to 8th as they have gone the wrong way on adjustments. You'd have to imagine it's as far back as Custer's been in the running order all day. He really hadn't been outside the top 4 up until, of course, right now. During that commercial break as well, Carson Kvapil and Justin Allgaier were able to get by Sheldon Creed for 11th and 12th on the racetrack, and Jesse Love up to a race-high 6th place position as well. Riley Herbst with a great fight-back performance after having that lengthy pit stop in stage 2, having to change the hose or get the hose connected to the back of his helmet. Having major issues of trying to stay even remotely cool in the hot temperatures inside his race car earlier. That was back at stage 2 where that took place. End of stage 2 is where they made that stop. So great job by Herbst getting up in the top 5. And that's as high in the running order really that he has been all day today, as he still sits about 7.5 seconds off the race lead. Still a little over a half a second difference between Nemechek and Chandler Smith at the front of the field. Nemechek has 1 win in the Xfinity Series this season. Could be the 5th win for the number 20 car with 4 different drivers. He'd be the only multi-time winner in that 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing this year. You consider JGR, the 81, having 2 wins also. Won nearly half the races just between those 2 cars alone through the Xfinity Series this season. Ty Gibbs still back at 21st after the damage from his incident. And Justin Allgaier, a lap or 2 ago, passed Carson Kvapil for 11th, rather. Almost said 12th. Pass was for 11th. That was after the battery change from Allgaier during that last caution. 23 to go. Still waiting to see if Chandler Smith is going to be able to close on John Nemechek at all. They haven't hit dense lap traffic to this point in the green flag run yet. Relatively equal 40 to 45 to a little bit less than 45 lap green flag runs all the way through this race. This race stays green all the way to the checkered from where we are now. I believe this final restart would be the longest green flag run of the day by just a couple laps over what we had on the initial start of the race, where stage 1 went caution free for the entire 45 laps to start the race. Nemechek fastest car on the racetrack that last lap. Ran a 32.369. About 0.8 of a second off of his fastest lap of the race, which was at the very beginning of this green flag run, lap 146. With Custer falling back in the running order just a little bit, and Custer came in with the points lead He was just 15 points ahead of Chandler Smith. Custer now 8th, Chandler Smith 2nd. That's a difference of 6 points. And they were relatively even on stage points today. I think Custer had a few more than Chandler. So in actuality, if Custer remains in the top 10 and Chandler Smith holds on to finish 2nd here, then the very good probability that Custer should still stay the points leader into Chicago next week. And remember that Custer did win at Chicago in the street race for the Xfinity Series there last season. Now, I already pegged SVG to win that race next week after Sonoma at the beginning of the month when he won there. I think I'm still staying with SVG at this point until I see some major differences in practice and qualifying. I mean, consider he won the Cup race there last season. I would imagine he'll win the Xfinity race there in his debut, just like he won in his Xfinity debut at both Portland and Sonoma, and he nearly had a second place run at COTA earlier this season as well. Led some laps in that race. Jesse Love, by the way, is now in the top 5. He passed Herbst a few laps ago for 5th. First time Jesse Love has cracked the top 5 today after starting all the way back in 38th, dead last of the 38 cars in the field for this race. We'll see 38 cars in tomorrow's Cup race as well, with 2 9-chartered entries at the Nashville Superspeedway for the Ally 400 tomorrow. Our coverage will begin at 3 p.m. Eastern. So again, 3 p.m. Eastern will be tomorrow afternoon's coverage with our pre-race show for the Ally 400 and Nashville. So definitely tune in there. Appreciate everybody that has tuned in throughout the course of the streams today with this one, Cup practice qualifying, including the truck race last night. It was our second most viewed truck stream of the season, only behind Daytona at the beginning of the year, so greatly appreciate that. And 2 Sundays in a row with Iowa 2 weeks ago and last weekend, even topping that on the viewership side of things right here on the channel. We had our most viewed stream at Iowa. Then we followed that up with the most viewed stream last weekend at New Hampshire for the Cup Series. So we'll see if we can make it 3 weeks in a row. Greatly appreciate everybody that has tuned into these live commentary streams over the last several weeks. Gives me the confidence to be able to continue commentating here and on the long goal of hopefully being able to do it in the real NASCAR realms down the road. Got an unscheduled pit stop for Sheldon Creed. Tough break for Sheldon Creed, having to make a battery change in the final 15 laps with his unscheduled pit stop in the final stage. He was running a little bit outside the top 10. I believe he was right around 13th, 14th place when this issue had transpired, and unfortunately, I mean, they're probably going to be able to get the change made before the end of the race, but I don't even know if they tried at this point. Nobody is out of the race yet either, so this is probably going to relegate rather going to relegate the 18 of Sheldon Creed to a last place finish. They're running inside the top 15 here in the final 15 laps, so this is not going to be a good points day for a guy who does not have a win yet, therefore is not locked into the Xfinity Series playoff field. Second a few times already this year, including a week ago at New Hampshire, but yeah, no wins. It's definitely going to be tough for him. Under 29 degrees inside AJ Allmendinger's race car right now, and I'd say a lot of the same give or take temperature-wise for a lot of these drivers trying to tough it out. Luckily for them, this is one of the shorter Xfinity races of the season. Again, only 250 miles. There's several 250-mile races, but that is the shortest of the race lengths possible. If it stays green to the end, this will end up finishing in less than 2 hours from the drop of the green flag to the checker. Very fast race pace today with only having the 3 cautions, again, 1 for incident. Haley Deegan just going a lap down in 28th at the moment. The hands of John Hunter Nemechek getting by her on the outside. Ross Chastain's now the last car in the lead lap in the 92. And the Mario Gosling-owned Chevrolet. Chastain, the defending Cup winner at Nashville a season ago, trying to go back-to-back there tomorrow. Only Chevrolet has won the first 3 Cup races at Nashville Superspeedway. They'll try to go 4 for 4 tomorrow afternoon as well. Though a couple Toyotas performing well earlier today with Ty Gibbs fastest in practice. Denny Hamlin qualified on the pole, so he'll be starting up front on race day tomorrow. Jesse Love now to the inside of Noah Gragson in a battle for 4th, and he almost gets into him. Off the exit of turn 4, may have even made slight contact. Definitely got the 30 a bit loose. Now what Nemechek wants to see, he wants this thing to stay green to the end. And not have to survive another restart late. Definitely a sketchy moment there between Love and Gragson. Gragson, the second highest running Cup regular in the field today. Only behind, of course, race leader John Hunter Nemechek. Second lap in a row off turn 4. Jesse Love nearly clips that left rear corner panel of Noah Gragson. Got him loose a few times. Love is finally clear after driving it deep into 1 and 2. Gets it to stick. And Jesse has Austin Hill within a half a second in front of him as well in third. Had a lot of lap traffic around the 21 of Hill also. Justin Allgaier just passed Cole Custer moments ago for 8th on the racetrack after restarting at the tail end of the lead lap on this last restart, right around 27th or so. So about 20 positions gained here for the 7. Love gets by the lap cars quicker than what Austin Hill was able to. And now Love looks to the inside of his teammate on the backstretch for 3rd. Jesse Love powering forward. And Love is clear off turn 4 with 7 to go this time by. So Jesse Love now up to P3, highest in the running order he has been so far today. Gets 2 positions in about a lap and a half or so. 1.1 second difference between Nemechek and Chandler Smith. Chandler Smith a little over 1/10 of a second quicker than Nemechek that last lap. Could be lap traffic maybe holding the 20 car up just a little bit more. 6 to go at the line now for John Hunter. Last car in the lead lap is Leland Honeyman. Right in front of him. Nemechek going up to that middle to upper groove. Through 1 and 2, trying to get some clean air on the nose. As he looks to lap the 42 car. Nemechek to the outside of the 42 in the middle of 3 and 4. Does seem like Chandler Smith's a little quicker in turns 3 and 4 than John Hunter Nemechek, but in 1 and 2 it either cancels out or Nemechek's just well quicker on that end of the track, which is the reason why he's able to sustain his lead at a little over a second on a lap-by-lap basis. Even with lap traffic in play and no more exactly clean air, I guess you would say, for the 20 as well. Very heavy lap traffic coming up, potentially, for Nemechek. I'm not sure if he's going to get all the way into it before the end of this race or not. It'll be close. 4 to go now at the line. Nemechek a couple tenths quicker than Chandler. That last lap extends his lead to now 1.4 seconds. And there is definitely a ton of side-by-side lap traffic in front of Nemechek. And it's going to be about a lap to a lap and a half before he catches him. But when he does, this could be the last strive that Chandler Smith will have to try to make to win this race and catch his teammate. 3 to go now at the line. 6 car who's already multiple laps down, going to let Nemechek go. Nemechek gets by. Well clear. Lead down to 1.1 seconds. Josh Williams in the 11 is the last car in the lead lap. He is right in front of Nemechek, running a similar line, that middle to upper group through turns 3 and 4 there. Chandler Smith still slower that last lap than Nemechek, so Nemechek holding on well. He's not into that heaviest part of this lap traffic quite yet. I think he's got a big enough of a lead with not enough time for Chandler Smith to get there still. Working themselves into 3 and 4 right now. And they'll be coming to the white flag this time by. Very tightly door to door. Some of those lappers are in front. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go. Sponsored by Credit One Bank. Sammy Smith thought it was going to take it 3 wide to the bottom of both of those cars. Not the case. Still a little over a second lead at the line. Yeah, Nemechek doesn't even have to try to attempt to make a pass on any of these guys running door to door in front of him. Chandler Smith still 7-8 car lengths back in the middle of turns 3 and 4. He's just not going to have enough time to get there. We would have had 2 more laps left in this race. It would have been crazy to watch Nemechek try to battle through that lap traffic, but he's going to get through it at least enough, or at least settle behind it enough to hold on and win the race. John Hunter Nemechek, your winner in the Tennessee Lottery 250 at Nashville Super Speedway. Chandler Smith finishes in second place behind him. Total time on today's race, a little bit under 2 hours. A 126.43, a 126.5 mile per hour average race speed, 1 hour, 57 minutes and 37 seconds total time of this race. We get through our regulation length of 188 laps and 250 miles. Margin of victory just 0.3 of a second. Nemechek backing it way down behind those lappers. He had plenty of time to do so. Using all that 1.4 second lead. No stressful finish there for Nemechek. If we would have had another lap or two, it would have been stressful, but had just the right amount of laps in this one for him to have a stress-free finish. And Chandler Smith finishes second. Jesse Love third at 8.5 seconds off the lead. Austin Hill fourth, and Noah Gregson rounds out the top 5 and 5th. Riley Hurts 6th, AJ Allmendinger 7th, Justin Allgaier 8th, Cole Custer 9th, Sam Mayer rounds out the top 10. Ryan Sieg finishes 11th, Carson Kvapil 12th, Brandon Jones 13th, 14th for Tyler Reddick, and Shane Van Gisbergen 15th in his Nashville debut. Parker Kligerman 16th, Parker Retzlaff 17th, Anthony Alfredo 18th, Jeb Burke 19th, and Ty Gibbs 20th after his late wreck. Brendan Poole 21st, Jeremy Clements 22nd, Ryan Ellis last car in the lead lap finished 23rd. Josh Williams first car lap down to 24th, 25th for Leland Honeyman. Kyle Sieg 26th, Ross Chastain 27th, Haley Deegan 28th, Matt DiBenedetto 29th, and Sammy Smith 30th. 31st for Kyle Weatherman, 2 laps down, 3 laps down for Logan Bearden in 32nd. After the battery change for Sheldon Creed, he finishes 33rd, 3 laps down, so he did not finish last at least. 4 laps down for Chad Fincham in 34th, Blaine Perkins also 4 laps down in 35th. 5 laps down for 36th through 38th. Garrett Smithley finishes 36th, Dawson Cram 37th, and Patrick Emmerling 38th. We'll go through more race stats after a word from your race winner, John Hunter Nemechek.
He's out in the car, taking in fluids. Karen, let's hear from the winner.
John Hunter Nemechek with his second win in the Xfinity Series of 2024. And man, Tyler Allen and this team set you up today. Your pit crew got it done. How important was it to have all cylinders firing off on a day like today where it would be so hard to focus with the absolutely miserable conditions?
Man, I thought we gave the race away there at the start of stage 3. I asked for an adjustment, and probably shouldn't have, but I tell you what, that mist feels really good right now. Thank you to all the fans. Glory to God. Feels good to be back in this 20 machine. We've been close to winning a lot this year in this thing, and I had limited starts, so being able to capitalize on that is huge. And Clive Barker, can't say enough about them. Followed me through my career, and it's great to get it done here in Nashville.
Part of the role of running the Xfinity Series race today was to get more seat time for your first Cup start at Nashville. Now, when we talked earlier today after practice, you were like, I don't know how much it's going to help. You led 76 laps here today. What did you learn for tomorrow?
I can't tell you. I really don't know. I'm kind of speechless right now, Kim.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
John Hunter Nemechek on a miserably hot day gets the job done, wins for the second time this season.
Drivers dealing with the heat. John Hunter Nemechek also realizing heat there after his interview.
Nemechek with the race win. Again, some of those other stats, he did go on to lead the most laps. 76 laps led for John Hunter, led 2 different times. Second most laps led were from Cole Custer, who led 64 laps, also led 2 different times. Ty Gibbs, only time he led was after starting on the pole, leading every lap of stage 1, including the caution laps. Before the first set of pit stops, he lost the lead, never got it back. 48 laps led for pole sitter Gibbs. Gibbs won stage 1. John Hunter Nemechek ended up going on to win stage 2. 4 lead changes amongst the 3 different drivers who led today. But we had 2 more different leaders and 3 more lead changes than what we saw in last night's race. Where Christian Eckes dominated from the pole. Track position, I think, going to matter. A lot of those drivers starting up towards the front in tomorrow's Cup race should be some of the favorites. Denny Hamlin will be on the pole there. And we'll obviously highlight that more in our pre-race for tomorrow's Cup race. 3 cautions total, only 1 for incident today. That 1 for incident was lap 135 in the final stage, where Ty Gibbs had spun off the right front fender of Justin Allgaier in a battle for 4th at the time. Gibbs backed it into the outside wall. And yeah, that was the only caution for incident. The other 2 yellows were the stage ends at lap 45 and lap 90. Once again, our live commentary coverage will begin at 3 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow afternoon for the NASCAR Cup Series. Before we get out of here, we'll get a couple more interviews. Dave Burns is standing with second place finisher Chandler Smith.
We got caught up in 7 and 19 scuffle. Got some damage. Think it might hurt us a little bit just on the splitter there, but super proud of everybody. Joe Gibbs racing this number 81 Barger Freecast Toyota GRC. I mean, as fast as Xfinity Internet when it counted. Just hate that we were caught up in that mess and possibly tossed our chance of maybe competing with the 20 a little more on a playing ground. But after the way this race started, I won't complain. Also want to give a shout out to my wife and kids at home. I'm ready to get home to see you guys.
I mean, they're some of the ones who are most concerned that you don't wear a cool shirt. So that worked again for you today.
Shh. That was rough. Did Bert never say he wanted to sponsor me a cool shirt?
He offered.
Oh, did he? Okay, I'll shoot him a text.
All right, Chandler Smith, second today. It was hot, but he made it.
Good news is the cool shirt worked the entire day for Jesse Love in the drive of the day. I mean, I don't know where to start with this. You start in the back, you drove for the top 10, had a bad pit stop, had to drive back up. Then you had a vibration on a tire, almost pitted under green. How in the world did you wind up with the top 5?
I got no idea. My cool shirt didn't work. That was my.
Oh, it did not.
That was my biggest issue. But first off, just want to give a little glory to God and thank Him for putting everybody here at RCR in my life. And we're in wheeling colors, but they're not in the car. C4's in the car today. C4's first NASCAR race to Brown in the top 3. So really proud of everybody at RCR, ECR Engines, Wheeling, and C4 Energy. The Ultimate Energy was getting me through that one. I'm going to polish this one off. So just proud to be part of a team that doesn't give up. We needed to have a good race today.
Unofficially, you passed 69 cars this afternoon. Have you ever had a race like that and in conditions like this, Jesse?
Twitter's going to freak out over that one. No, I was probably the hottest I've ever been. Didn't really get a chance to rest at all. But just proud of my guys and happy to see all the Home Smiles 18-point home maintenance service people out here today. Got like 100 people from all around the country here today to support us.
Much needed third place finish for Jesse Love today, Kim.
Well, Marty, a 7th place finish for AJ Allmendinger, who had a very fast race car today. Ultimately, a slow pit stop took you out of the possibility of a win here today. How do you come to terms with something that's kind of out of your hands?
Well, I'll be honest. I don't. The last run, I don't think we were fast enough probably to win. Anyways, the lost track position for sure didn't help, but we just kind of got too tight there. It was. I might have told him to go the wrong way in the adjustment. We made an adjustment the run before, and I didn't know if we were quite as good, but. It's we win and lose as a team. The most important thing is our Celsius Chevy was pretty quick today. All we're searching for is speed. Of course, you want to win the race, but at the end of the day, we just got to keep finding speed. And if we can run like we did today at a lot of these racetracks, the wins will come. So I'm not too worried about that. But it's about going back and studying of actually what made us so good today.
So is it safe to say, because Alex Jones-Jarkutic said kind of change your approach and you really looked at last year's notes, is that something moving forward that maybe you'll have a little bit more direction?
Well, it was easy. We won last year, so it's easy to look at those notes. Some of the racetracks we're going up to, we haven't won at. So yes and no, I think, but you just got to do a full reset at times. It's never lacking effort, so we're always trying to try new things. But when you don't get to test, you just learn at the racetrack. So
did kind of a full reset. I think we saw some good things today, and it's just about us to go figure out why, and then kind of carry those over to different types of racetracks.
Guys, for as hot as it is today, AJ looks pretty good.
A fit driver there, and you mentioned hot. It's still over 90 degrees.
Take a look at the point standings as well before we get out of here. Currently, obviously, the playoff drivers locked in with wins would include Chandler Smith, Justin Allgaier, Austin Hill, Sam Mayer, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Jesse Love. On points, Cole Custer plus 221. He should be good. I believe he is still the points leader as well. Riley Herbst, 103 points to the good. So both those SHR Fords looking outstanding right now. AJ Allmendinger plus 80 points to the good after a stellar top 10 day. A lot of stage points. Sheldon Creed, rough finish, but still plus 77 to the good. Parker Kligerman plus 46 points. And the last driver above the cutoff line is Sammy Smith, who had a loose wheel early in Stage 3 after the pit stops during the Stage 2 break. Made that unscheduled pit stop. He only finished 30th. He did get stage points early, but Ryan Sieg outscored him today on points. That gap coming in was 31. Ryan Sieg gains 20 points on Sammy Smith, with Sieg finishing 11th and Sammy Smith, again, finishing back in the 30th place position. So, big time gain there. Brandon Jones minus 54 points after a solid day, at least early. A lot of stage points, but 13th place finish. Just couldn't seal the deal. He does eat into that points lead a little bit, but not by a lot. Anthony Alfredo also ate into it just a little bit here in this one, finishing 18th, but no stage points. He's minus 59 points. Brendan Poole minus 113, still remains 16th in the point standings. That is the leaderboard for the point standings in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Full screen commercial break now on the USA Network. We're going to end things again. 3 p.m. Eastern will be the start of our NASCAR Cup Series live commentary stream tomorrow. I will see you live for that one. That will be roughly a half hour to 45 minutes for tomorrow's drop of the green flag. I will see you for that. Have a good rest of your Saturday night. Thanks for hitting that like button and subscribing if you have. If you haven't, be sure to do both of those two things, as we are on the road to 6,000 subs, on the road to 10,000. And again, appreciate it, everybody. Thanks for your support as always. See you tomorrow afternoon.